Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyid al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen amma ba'd fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our weekly program Tafseer Thursday. Last week we talked about the introduction to the 67th chapter of the Quran, which is Surah Mulk, and inshallah today we are going to go into the details of the verses. Before we start, let's go on with reading the verses that we are going to talk about today. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حصير ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير. So these are the 5 verses of Surah Mulk that we are going to talk about today. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the first ayat تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ الْمُلْكُ وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. So the glory is for the one in whose hand is the kingdom, وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, and he has power over everything. First, let's go on a word-to-word translation. Tabaraka, the glory, the ultimate glory, alladhi is for the one, biyadihi, in whose hand, al-mulk, is the kingdom, wahuwa, and he, ala kulli shay'in, upon everything, qadir, has power. So this is a basically word-to-word translation. When you put them together, there are some words in the English language that come before. For example, وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. If you take it to a word-to-word translation, it would be and he has upon everything power. But when you translate it, it's he has power over everything. Going on with this verse, the first part, Tabaraka, Allah, it's from Baraka, and it's in the pattern of Tafa'ul. It's a pattern from Arabic morphology in which when you bring it towards this pattern, for example, fi'al means to do, but when you bring it to a tafa'ul, it's a thing you're doing mutually. So tafa'ul means 2 people are doing an action mutually, they're interacting with each other. But tabaraka meaning the glory is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in such a level that all the glory is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one under whose hand is the kingdom. Now, just one thing to note before we go on with the verse is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is basically talking in a third person. He's not mentioning that barakat is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he's mentioning barakat is for, the glory is for someone who has the kingdom over everything. And the reason for that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to 2 people over here, 2 types of people. Because this is a Meccan surah, there's the talk for the Muslims that just became Muslim. And now for the Muslims, they have to get their faith strong. And for the kuffar of the Mecca who were not listening to any verses that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought to them. So over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing it in such a form that the kuffar can think, oh, this is talking about a king who has the power over everything, and he's such a king that has ultimate control. So let's listen, who is this king? So in that form, they come listening to these verses. Now, over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that the one in whose hand is the kingdom. And when he's mentioning kingdom, he means the mulkus samawat wal ard fi dunya wal akhirah, the kingdom of the skies and the earth in the world and in the akhirah. during the whole time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the kingdom over everything. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, and He has the power over everything. Now there's two things over here. Now when there is a regular king, he has control over some part of a land, and when he has the kingdom over some people, he does not have direct control over them. He has an indirect control over them. The only control he has is over his ministers and over the servants that are serving him. Even if there's some servants that are not serving him but are in the mansions, are still not under his control directly. And then there's another thing that what does the kingdom have over something? Is the kingdom over something big, on a big level, or on a small level? So there's some that have power on the small level, upon small things, but then cannot have power upon the big things. And some people, they have the control on the big level, but when it comes to small parts, they do not have power upon that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on both of these things, the first point, that He has control over everything. He has control directly. He does not need any, He does not have any indirect control. All of the control He has is direct. And the other thing is, whatever big or small thing there is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has control over that too. Now, one of the meanings of mulk, as according to Ibn Abbas, is بِيَدِ الْمُلْكِ يُعِذُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُذِلُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ وَيُغْنِي وَيُفْقِرُ وَيُعْطِي وَيُمْنِعُ. Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the control over the people such that He can give the izzat, the respect to whomever He wants. He can give the dhillat, the disgrace to whomever He wants. He can give life and death. He can He can make a person rich or poor, and He can give and He can prohibit. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has so much power. As going back to a regular king, he has power, but sometimes his power is limited. There's some things that he cannot do because they will go against the people. Sometimes those ideas become a flop and the king has to take his idea back. But the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is total control. He can do whatever He wants and that will happen. Whatever He has willed will happen. So that is the ultimate kingdom. Then going on to the next verse is الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. The one who has created the the death and the life, so that He can test which one amongst you does the good action. وهو العزيز الغفور, and He is the Almighty and the All-Forgiving. Now going in, breaking this verse down, الذي, the one who, خلق means to create, الموت, the death, the maut, والحياة, the life, ليبلوكم, so that this first part is, it's a يبلو, so that He can test you, and then so that He can test. قم is the maf'ul, so that He can test you. أيكم أحسن عملا, which amongst you, أيكم, which amongst you, أحسن عملا, does the أحسن, the good, عمل, actions. وهو العزيز الغفور, and He is Aziz, the Almighty, Al-Ghafur, the All-Forgiving. So over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned خلق الموت والحياة, which means خلقكم للموت والحياة, يعني للموت في الدنيا والحياة في الآخرة. So a question might come that why is hayat mentioned after maut? So the maut meaning in the dunya and hayat in the akhirah, and He created you. He created the maut and the hayat, meaning He created you for the maut and the hayat. So you will have the maut in the dunya and then hayat in the akhirah. And there's other meanings to why maut has been mentioned before hayat, but this is one of the opinions that why maut has been mentioned before hayat. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا, so that He can test you who does good amongst you. over here, so when you know that you are about to die and then you will rise on the day of resurrection, so even after knowing that, which amongst you will do good and who will still do bad? If you do the good actions, you will get the good result on Yawm al-Qiyamah, and if you do the bad actions, you will get the bad result on Yawm al-Qiyamah. So this maut in haya is so that you can be tested. And over here I will mention this one hadith from Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that inna Allah ta'ala أذل بني آدم بالموت وجعل الدنيا دار حياة ثم دار موت وجعل الآخرة دار جزاء ثم دار بقاء. That indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala disgraces the Bani Adam with the maut, and He places the dunya, the world, as a dar haya, as a house for living, then as a house for dying, and then He places the akhirah as a house for compensation, so that you can get whatever, if you did good you will get the good result, if you did bad you will get the bad result. ثُمَّ دَارَ بَقَاءٍ, so and then the dar for baqa, for eternity. So in the world is made so that you can come in this world, you can live, and then you can die, and then the day of resurrection is so that you can get what the reward or the compensation for whatever you did, and then you will get the baqa, the everlasting, either in the Jannah, in the heaven, or Jahannam, the hell. Now, this one point before we go on, why it's mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala disgraces the Bani Adam with the maut, is that for those people that think themselves on a high position and think that basically nothing bad can touch them, and have a different type of ego, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings that people can take lesson that even these people that thought that they were one of the best people had to die. So what are we then? The next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الذي خلق السبع سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور. Translation: that Allah, the one who has created the seven skies, طباقا, on top of each other, ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت, so you would not see in the creation of the All-Merciful from any contradiction. فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور, so raise your eyes, do you see from any defects? Now a breakdown. الذي, the one, خلق, who has created, سبع, seven, samawat is the skies, طباقا, on top of each other, meaning they're basically on top of each other. ما ترى, you would not see, في, in, خلق الرحمن, the creation of the merciful, من تفاوت, from any contradiction. فارجع البصر, so before we go on, in this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the samawat on top of each other, and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the kuffar that you will not find any defect in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فارجع البصر, farji', so raise, the basar, the eyes, هل ترى من فطور, هل, do you, ترى, do you see, min futur, from any defect. Now when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that there is no defect in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then He is giving a challenge to the kuffar that, okay, even if you have some, if you still think that there might be any defect in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go ahead, go try. You can look, farji' al-basara, so raise your eyes, meaning that go try to look. هل ترى من فطور, do you find any defect? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues on to the next ayat, ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير. Then raise your eyes and yet again, and they will return towards you humiliated, وهو حسير, while they are tired. So over here is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is saying that the first time you can look, you will still not find anything. Then go ahead, look again, try again, try your research again. Then you will still not find it. Then try again. And karratain over here is basically meaning try again 2 times, but over here, but it's actually meaning try again as much as you want. ينقلب إليك البصر, then your eyes will return towards you khasi'an, humiliated. So you can try how many times you want, but at the end you would not get any result, and you would be humiliated while your eyes are tired. Khasi'an means, as Ibn Abbas says, al-khasi alladhi lam yara ma yahwa. Khasi means the one who does not see what he desires. So over here, the people who are still desiring to see any defect in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and still they cannot find it. And they try to look so much, now that their eyes are tired, they can no longer look. The next verse, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينِ وَأَعْتَدْنَا لَهُمْ عَذَابَ السَّعِيرِ. And we have beautified the skies of the world with the masabih, with the lamps, and we have placed it as a rujum, means basically some of the ulama have translated as missile, basically something that comes very strong for the shayateen. وَأَعْتَدْنَا لَهُمْ عَذَابَ السَّعِيرِ, and we have prepared for them a blazing punishment. So وَلَقَدْ, and indeed, زَيَّنَّا, we have beautified السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا, the skies of the world, بِمَصَابِيحَ, with the lamps. وَجَعَلْنَاهَا, and we have placed it, meaning the masabih, as a rujum lishayateen, as I translated before, as a missile for the shayateen. وَأَعْتَدْنَا, and we have prepared lahum, for them, عَذَابَ السَّعِيرِ, the blazing punishment. So inshallah, we will stop over here today, and we will continue on from verse number 6 inshallah next week. If you have any questions, you can write them in the comment section, or you can message them to our Facebook page. Inshallah, we will try to answer them in the next segment. Jazakallah khair. Keep watching. Assalamu alaikum.